Alrighty, I think that's enough time to give everyone to get here. Enough notices. You guys ready to kick it off then? I
Yeah,
think.
we can get started.
Okay,
I'll uh,
yeah. So,
I'll kind of explain our format a little bit at the start here, and then pass it off. But more or less, we're going to be talking about some of the things that so far we've gotten done as the community subcouncil this epoch, and uh, after that, we'll be talking about some of the things that we have planned for the future of this epoch. And it's not an exhaustive list, but it's some of the major things. So. With that, I'll pass it off to Artemis to talk about the governance newsletter.
Yeah, thanks. One of the first things that we wanted to make sure we got out of the way at the beginning of this epoch was a method to kind of help increase transparency between the councils and the community members, and also just make information more easily accessible. We, as a council, worked together to produce a newsletter that we will be producing every month. It gives summary for each sub-council's public meeting notes. It provides any proposals that were passed in the last month, which has summaries and what the outcome was. And then it also has links to all of the public governance info. So if we give a summary on a sub-council's meeting notes, but maybe we don't go into the nitty-gritty details, that link is there for you so that if you want to go and read every last word, it's there for you. Let's see what else. What else? And yeah, if right now that's all that it has to it. If there's anybody listening that wants to see more added to the newsletters, feel free to contact anyone on our council, and we'd be happy to get something put in. We also plan to use the newsletter for any important information. So, like when Wave 2 Iluvatar pricing popped up, and if we need to get that in front of people right away, we'll write up a little newsletter, send it out on the email list. It will be hitting the main email list, so hopefully reaching as many people as possible. And then also just before the end of the epoch, we'll probably put forth a proposal that makes this a main responsibility of the community subcouncil going forward, so that hopefully it doesn't just die with us.
and I will say also, like Artemis and the community subcouncil have the last edition done, and it's over to me to get it posted on the blog, and I have the email drafted up. I'm just waiting on an artwork, and the newsletter will get sent out to everybody so you guys can all check it out as soon as possible. So it's not her fault it's taking a little bit longer.
Yeah. So the next thing that we had that we've gotten done this epoch is, you might have noticed the governance info channel. That was something that we had kind of identified pretty early in the epoch as something we wanted to get implemented. A lot of our governance processes are fairly complex. Governance V2 is like a 27-page document or something like that. And sometimes those processes aren't the most understandable. So governance info exists to be sort of a concise place where the community subcouncil can distill down governance subjects and topics to a more understandable level. And this is being done sort of in anticipation of us bringing in gamers. And really, at the end of the day, we want our community, including gamers, to be able to interact with governance. It's one of the things that makes Illuvium unique, and it needs to be implemented in an accessible way where somebody showing up shouldn't have to read through Governance V2 to understand, oh, if I have something that I think is a really good idea, I can get it implemented. So governance info is intended to be sort of that bridge of information for people who are coming into the community. Right now, there's only a single article in governance info. It's discussing proposal processes, but we do have plans to expand upon that and have small, concise, and condensed write-ups on things like, for example, elections, or if we wanted to simplify, for example, RevDis processes, which is a fairly dense proposal if you've read through it. That can all be done there. So, but that's about it for governance info. So I will pass it off to Ricky to talk about governance ideas.
You're still muted.
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. So, as highlighted by Blichter, the new governance information channel, he mentioned that there's one article kind of posted there, which is proposals. So, there's a newly created channel called Governance Ideas. It's going to act very similar to the previous feedback ideas. However, the new process, it's going to help differentiate between what's general feedback and what are actual proposals. and they're going to have their own respective homes in the Discord. So as anyone knows, anyone in the community can suggest changes to help shape the Illuvium universe. So how can you have your voice heard? Two ways. There's suggestions and feedback and proposals. So if you have a brilliant idea, amazing feedback that you want either the team or the sub-councils to know, drop it in the feedback ideas channel, which people have been doing pretty regularly. So just note that those will not go through the proposal process anymore. It'll be a great starting point, and the community sub-council can be there to help shape that and help write a proposal if needed. But when you have a well-defined idea or change in mind and you have the proposal written, that's where you would share it in the governance ideas channel. Perhaps somebody can, Garth already linked it. Perfect. That's the one. So being sure just when you do post something in there that it follows the formal proposal structure. And that's also linked in the governance info. So there's an example there of what the formal structure looks like. So you can always check that out for reference. And then the rest is pretty much the same. When it reaches community sentiment and it gets the 25 upvotes, it's going to be voted on by us, the community sub-council. We will then select which specialized sub-council votes next. And then if passed there, it'll go to the Illuminati Council, the IMC, and then it'll get implemented by Illuvium Labs if passed. I guess I should say, just before I forget, we did have, we newly integrated the reactions to posts. So anyone can add additional reactions other than just the thumbs up and thumbs down. However, when it comes to actually voting for community sentiment, we're only going to be looking at thumbs up and thumbs down. All the other emojis in that channel will get removed. And I guess that's pretty much the quick version of that. Back to you, Blichter.
Perfect. Yeah, so the rest of the things we're going to be talking about are things that are not implemented yet, but we have been working on. So just so everybody's aware that these things aren't something you can go look at right now, but wanted to talk them over because they are things we have put work and thought into already. One of those is something that we were tasked with sort of at the IMC level, is something that needs to be better for next epoch, and that is onboarding for future councils. We knew that onboarding was going to be a bit of a challenge with this epoch, just because we had so many new council members coming in with GovV2 compared to previously when we had 5, and 2 of those are already experienced. So 40% of our council is experienced, and that was not the case this epoch. So what we're going to be doing is, this won't be something that's necessarily visible to the public, but there will be sort of an onboarding package that makes it a bit more clear what your responsibilities are as a council member, and some of the other topics that you just need to know to be able to perform the role. This can include things like keeping your voting NFT on a hot wallet because it doesn't have any monetary value, and if you happen to go to town, it's important to be able to use that to vote. Other things like that. So that is something that we have been working on a little bit in the background, and it will be a priority for us this epoch. So, and I think I'll pass it off to Garth to talk about the FAQ updates.
Yeah, so the FAQ for the Discord was quite lacking because it hadn't been updated for a while. So we took it upon ourselves to write a general FAQ to give the team some ideas on what to expand upon. We finished that a couple of weeks ago, and in it we covered how to get into Illuvium, the intricacies of the NFTs, as well as the game modes, including the 3 games, as well as Illuvium Beyond. It became pretty extensive, but having official information can be pretty helpful. The mods can then just copy and paste it to the community or direct them to it to give it a lot of information and get everyone on the same page. So currently, the FAQ is in the process of being proofread by the marketing team. I heard Blichter say that it's now in the hands of Rich as well. So good luck with that, Rich. And I think that's about it. Go on to the next.
We've been working on an ICCP to the Trading Blackout IIP. The first reason the ICCP is necessary is that currently the Blackout IIP punishes you for being a council member if you want to play the game There are mixed feelings on this reasoning, but it definitely would affect the quality of future council members. As someone who has been following esports for over a decade, following and speaking with the players, if something comes between them and practice, they're going to choose their practice. It always wins. And they're not always going to be the council members, right? But those players can definitely be incredibly valuable for understanding what should be added or taken out of the game. More importantly, though, the blackout could lead to those who closely watch wallets realizing there's a trading blackout due to someone not being able to buy or sell certain alluvials, alluvatars, or any other asset necessary to engage with the game productively. You might think, how does this affect the price? Well, those who follow the wallets closely would have to guess what is getting nerfed or buffed. That would be hard, right? But no, that is a bit short-sighted of a take, because in competitive video games, when a character needs a buff or nerf, it is pretty blatantly obvious. If a champion in League of Legends has a 65% win rate, it is obvious it will get a nerf. If it has a 40% win rate, it's obvious it will get a buff. Keeping council members from being able to buy these assets at all will leave hints as to what is going on behind the scenes, trading blackout-wise, which, again, would be pretty obvious to see. Simply allowing some kind of threshold so that council members can play the game effectively without giving them the chance to manipulate the market, from my perspective, makes the most sense. And the way we're going to go about doing that is we have, I'm not going to go into detail real quick because we're still working on it, but council members listing or delisting assets, we're going to go ahead and go into that. Duration of the blackout period after the release of information, and trading limitations during the blackout by some kind of threshold. I won't get into that right now, but when that's released, we'll go deeper into that. And that's all I have for that one.
So that's pretty much all the topics we wanted to cover, but also wanted to open the floor up for questions. If there was any questions about whether they're about the governance newsletter or governance info ideas, or some of the things we have planned for the future, or even if you have thoughts on whether there's other ways that community subcouncil can be working to help get information disseminated, or things like that. Also happy to hear feedback like that. So I think we'll just open it up for questions at this point.
You guys can either raise your hands and I'll pull you up, or you can ask down there in the chat.
I guess just maybe a little bit more clarity could be shared. So council will still be looking over the feedback ideas channel, because people sharing feedback there might not want to create a proposal, but there might be something that could be good groundwork or kind of good foundation that could have a proposal built from there. So we would always be looking at that, and that proposal that gets written from that would then be brought over into the governance ideas channel, where it would then be voted on for community sentiment, where people could thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah. And just to get into a bit of the reasoning behind it, one of the reasons why we wanted to separate proposals from just ideas was, I'm sure people have been watching feedback ideas have noticed this happen sometimes, but sometimes somebody just has a piece of feedback that they want taken as feedback, right? It's not intended to be a proposal, but sometimes those ideas are met with the same scrutiny a proposal would be. Like, the things that you'll see most often are like, this isn't something that's worth implementing right now, or like, we need to focus on getting the game out right now. Like, this is not a good idea, when that wasn't the person's intention. So just to be clear, the point of governance ideas is explicitly these are things that will be in proposal format, will be moving to a vote. And so they do need to meet that sort of higher level of scrutiny and be considered that way. So.
And maybe if something is shared in there that is not at the proposal level, how would we handle that? Maybe clarify that also.
You mean if somebody shares an idea that seems like it wants to be a proposal but isn't?
That's not in the formal structure. Maybe clarify that.
Oh,
yeah.
If things aren't in a proposal format, they can't be in governance ideas. They need to be strictly in a proposal format. But again, if you do need help getting something into that format, that's explicitly the job of the community subcouncil, and we're happy to help. No matter what your proposal's about, doesn't matter if we agree with it or not, but part of our job is to help you get things into a proposal format. And and just make sure that the technical specifications are clear so that it's something that can be properly evaluated and voted on. So
Okay, well, we think we're pretty much covered. Is there anything else you guys wanted to cover? I don't see anybody with any questions or hands raised.
There are several people typing though, so
I was just writing that I see a lot of people typing.
I would like to quickly mention, like, if you guys ever forget any questions that you do have for any of us, you can tag us on Twitter or whatever. Just reach out to us, and I mean, every single person on here is willing to help. I can speak confidently that all of these people definitely care about this community. So if you do have any questions that you may have forgotten about, or even if you're just too scared, that's completely fine. Just reach out to us afterwards. Tag us on Twitter, DM us on Twitter. Just be safe. You know what I mean? But we're always here willing to answer anything if you guys have anything, and willing to help. Yes, I mean, my bad. I meant to say eggs.
I think it's
Yeah, so any of us or any council member even, feel free to reach out to anyone. Everybody's pretty open. We're easy to be approached, and feel free to talk. I saw G Hamster had a question. So yeah, so your idea there, which was tagged in the future idea and feedback, it got the 27 upvotes. So I'm trying to remember fully on that. I think that the team is working on something similar to that, but yeah, we can always reach out and have a discussion on that and get that as a formal proposal written. And then yeah, it could be posted in the governance ideas, and then that would go through the voting process if it gets the 25 upvotes.
I meant to say I'll tag him on Twitter.
alrighty. Well,
yeah, I don't think we have anything else to talk about. If anybody does have any questions, can feel free to reach out to us directly, or just in one of the general governance channels. Feel free to ask. Yeah, I appreciate everybody taking the time to come out and listen to what we've been up to and what we have planned for the future. So,
and this is recorded, so yes, it will be posted on the Illuvium Plus YouTube. So anybody looking to watch it later or listen in later can feel free to do that. Just give me a couple hours to post it, and then good to go. Appreciate everyone coming out. You guys want to do the rest of your goodbyes and any closing thoughts, Jimbo, Garf, Artemis?
Thanks for everyone who came out.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I just want to really hammer home again, like, reach out to us. And don't DM, I guess, or DM us first. And I don't know, man. Just reach out, and because I feel like a lot of people maybe are a little scared or shy of voicing their opinion. Yeah, just feel free to reach out. We want to help. We want to be engaged. So I'm begging, please talk to us.
You can tag us either individually in the Discord. We'll usually get back to you, depending on time zones, obviously. You can also just tag all of us. I mean, try not to do it too often, but you can do the @community subcouncil, and it'll get our attention.
Alrighty. Well,
exactly.
we'll wrap it up there. Thank you everyone for coming.